So after you have done art installation, was there another customer service arena you got into?
No.
Okay.
So I, as an actor, consider it, but you can totally scoff at that. And it's okay if you are listening and you're like, calm down, girl. People put makeup on you. But like all you do is...
serve people.
Oh, I didn't talk about the call center. That was at the same time.
That was the same time as art installation
I
or
think
Cutco?
retail and call center and tutoring. Like a lot of college was a call center. I think that was like the main one because acting, you serve people and you talk to people, but I learned a lot of skills in the call center that I use as an actor to absorb people's energy and pain and frenetic like sadness. And my job is to just sit there and absorb it. Wow. And if I absorb it, everybody wins.
Do you really
I have to do that?
Do you really? Whoa, that makes me. That's true. That's a lot. So do you? What was the call center? What were people calling you about?
There's a company. None of it's bad, so it's fine. Okay. A company called Fix Auto that has a lot of like auto body shops around town, and so there's various versions of what this building was used for. So in one space, eventually I was given a promotion into this space. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known it existed. But it's when somebody has just been in a car accident and they have just called their insurance. I'm calling them. So I didn't know that that's what I was being promoted into because of my soft skills, nuance, and emotional IQ, that I was calling people who were having the worst moment of their entire life and saying, hi, would you like help finding a place for your car to be towed? Please tell me what happened. I'm not writing it down, but we need to get your car to a place. Because the first job I had there was the person who called you a week after you picked up your car from repair, who said, would you like to tell me about your experience having your car repaired? And so my job was to absorb their anger.
Oh, they're always 100. There's no one who's thrilled. Everybody's mad.
Worst days of their lives. And somebody is saying, would you like to do a postmortem on the worst experience of your life? And my job is to be kind and just hear it, not write down most of it. I'm like, I'm writing this down. I can't wait to give this to the team. I'm not writing it down. I am asking them to just not write it on the internet.
That's literally, you were the middle person between them and Yelp.
Yeah. If they still needed things, I was facilitating what's next. But in general, my job was, would you like to tell me what happened? It's like take a short survey and like just, would you like to rant for 37 minutes about how much everybody's an idiot and how, you know, you're broke and how the system doesn't work? I'll just hold space for that. It's an emotional job.
Yeah.
And I'm like in my pajamas, drinking a coffee with vodka in it and just like, tell me what else. Let's do this.
But you're also an empath. So like, how do you not take that on?
I was taking a lot of hormones.
It was egg season.
Egg donation.
Hey, we in our egg season. Okay, cool.
I was severely fucked up by a few years in a row. I had a drinking problem. Obviously, I was drinking at work every day. Probably in response to what that work required of me.
No question.
And then when I was promoted into that position where I was calling people right after that, I was like, this got real fast. Like people's children are hurt. Like I can't hold space here. And I didn't work very long after that. Probably like a few months.
Yeah, I couldn't have done that either. I can't hear it.
It was so hard. And most of the job was like, I'm an annoying, you know, tele-jerk who'd call you and you'd be like, take me off your call list. And I'd be like, cool. And then some people would be like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, I'm sorry, would you like us to call back? And I'd be like, 7 a.m.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I love it. Rachel McDowell, God bless her, former guest of the podcast, she talked about that because she worked at a call center too. And she was like, if you're rude to us, we can actually bug the shit out of you for all eternity. So like,
you're going back on the call list.
No question.
At the worst time of day.
Yes.
7 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, you're going to hate it.
Yeah, I know what like zone you're in.
Yeah.
And I know everything about you.
Yeah. I can be at your house tonight. Oh, good Lord. Okay.
And today I use that knowledge when people call me and I say, please take me off your call list. I'm not interested in being contacted again. And when someone's a jerk, I'm like, do not reschedule me for 7 a.m.
Oh, you'll say it.
I'll say it. And then somebody called me Sunday morning at 8 a.m. about something random. It was not in response to anything. I said, this is an inappropriate call time. You need to not call people in this time zone. And they were like, oh, okay. because I know.
Yeah.
I know that they can choose what time zone they're calling. You can't call people 8 a.m. on a Sunday.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Was it a pitch too? Was it like for something like a cold call? Or something?
Energy. Do you want to? Now that I own a home and I have a mortgage, I get a lot of calls about like energy saving. And every time I'm like, I already have solar panels. Thank you so much for the call. Please take me off your list. I'm not interested in any more calls from you. I'm nice.
Yeah, but you're direct.
Absolutely.
Good.
It's their job.
Turns out.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And they're drunk. And they're in their pajamas.
Yes.
I know.
You're like, I put vodka in my coffee. Leave me alone. Enjoy your vodka.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I get it. Okay.
We work together.
So you lasted at the call center 3 months, you said. Roughly.
Oh, no, probably a year. But after I got a promotion into like things getting real.
Got it. That was 3
I don't think I lasted very long there. Okay. I can handle being in serious situations, but there's a reason why I did not become a doctor.
That part. Or a EMT or any of that. No,
Yeah.
a nerd. No.
I don't want to be a hero. No. I want to tell stories about heroes.
Well, that's how we're different. I would love to be the hero without any of the trauma. So like if I could be a hero that doesn't have to do anything scary, woo, that's my zone. Okay.
I like the safe place of a set.
Same.
To tell the story about the unsafe thing that happened that scarred everyone.
I'm with you.
I don't need to be scarred.
Yeah. You're not a method actor then, huh?
No.
Yeah. You think it's crazy, huh?
I love being in a psychotic break space to make decisions that feel as authentic as possible. Let's not be like great. Of course, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But if you can just like pretend and be playful and get to that place from a different, like from the yellow brick road instead of from like the dark place, if you could just like get there, I'm going to choose there. Mm-hmm. And I might choose differently because I have keys to both. Word. I might choose differently if I have a role that I feel like can only be served that way. I have yet to be allowed to play a role that would require me to break from my reality so that when we yell cut, I want to be like, can I blah, blah, blah. You know, like I want to be me a little bit so that I can be nice to people on set because set is hard and I'm going to choose them over the movie. And then one day, hopefully, I hope I'll write a role. I've written the role. For me to do that, I will have to explain to people on set, I'm not going to be able to choose you. I'm going to have to choose the story. And I hope that you'll give me that
space to do it. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
But I'll have to ask.
Sure. I mean, but acknowledging it is a kind, I think that's where method actors go wrong, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Back to the customer service.
I think any co-working space that interacts with people is customer service. Like when you work with other people, customers are other people.
I have asked if people disagree with me. I've asked if people who are exclusively comics think that that's customer service. And it was described, apologies, I can't remember who said it, but a former guest said it's an imbalanced version of customer service because the comic really does hold the power to be able to stop you from speaking. However, I've thought about it after and I'm like, yeah, but you are existing for their claps and their laughter, and they have the total power to keep their arms crossed, shut down, and not like you. So it's an imbalanced, weird, like you can't just tell everybody to like go, I don't know, jump off a bridge and die as a like. I guess maybe you could get to that space, but like you are beholden to the people that are buying tickets to see you. So it still feels like some version of service, in my opinion.
Well, it's a dance. When somebody calls a customer service line, you can't see each other, but you are feeling each other out. Like it is a dance. You have to be flexible to the new information because both of you are going to deliver new information. You have to be able to accept it and you need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to serve in one way or the other. Like, I know the beginning of this dance move. Let's go through this dance move. I know how to do this. I'll do this. Like, it's a dance where you don't know what's going to happen, but you both know the majority of the dance moves. And if somebody starts one, we'll go down that like, oh, you want to do this return? We're going to do it this way. And you're like, great, I will follow you down this path. I will give you the information. You can write down my address and phone number. Like, you're doing a version. And I think stand-up is the same. I think co-working is the same, is if I'm going to serve up a joke and you're going to want to heckle, this dance moves starts the same way, but it could go lots of different dance moves.
Yeah.
And this could be a wildly like artistic, weird dance and everybody's uncomfortable. Or this could be a ha-cha-cha 1950s, like super fun musical theater number. We can decide together how I'm going to serve up and how you're going to serve up, and we're going to dance this out. So I wouldn't say that it is a like people of two different sides. Like there's a power dynamic. I would say the power changes all the time. Like the center of gravity in a dance move changes all the time. Sometimes it's served this way. Sometimes you're never giving it back. And you hope that that person doesn't try to take it back again. And you hope you don't have to ask security to take them out.
Hello.
Like, ew. Yeah. But if we're not like, if we're always partners, then it could be any type of dance. So I don't know. I just want to reframe that.
I don't disagree. I like it. So I'm writing down, because the next question is how many customer service jobs have you had? So we had the first taxable middle school tutor, college tutor. That's 2. Retail place downtown. I am not in the mic. That is 3. Let's see. Donated eggs.
I wrote 5 to 7 depending on what we consider.
Love it. I'm going to say 7. Okay. Which was your favorite of all of those jobs? You can't count acting or stand up. I'm sorry. I know. But that's obvious. Come on. It's got to be Cutco. Just kidding. It's not.
I think that I was really well suited to the lifestyle of a call center.
It's shot. Like there are so many jobs that if you offered me $1 million, I don't think I could do them. And call center is one of them. I don't know why. What do you mean by that? Like the lifestyle?
I like
vodka in your coffee. Just kidding.
I used to really like vodka. But, I have people skills. I'm not afraid of the phone. I have confidence to have conversations that are hard. I can get up to pee whenever I want. I could wear whatever I want. I can act however I want. I can make it as fun or I can make it as quiet, and I control the environment. When you're in a call center, a lot of people consider like the rows and rows of headphones, and so you're not controlling the environment. And I see that. I won't let that stop me from showing up in my pajamas and putting my feet up. I really value comfort, and I will give up my emotional labor for money. And I will talk to people. And when you have really negative interactions, I don't think that ruins my day.
Wow, you're lucky. See, I can get taken out by a bad interaction. How do you stonewall against that?
Well, they're on the phone.
So fuck it, you can hang up.
So they can't see my face.
Oh, so you're saying you're throwing your arms.
Like, no, for the audio, but like if you can see the way I talk when I do voiceover in a booth, I am the most like picture an eagle, picture a bear with their hands up, picture somebody like swimming in a pool, like the full breaststroke. I am very full arm, full body communicator.
Okay.
And if I need to communicate as a separate entity, my voice and my body, and I put all of my frustration into rubbing my hands on my face, pulling my own hair, stretching my back, making faces, sticking my tongue out, I don't feel like it costs me too much to bend over backwards if I literally can also bend over backwards while I'm doing it. Like if I can express myself, there are a lot of jobs where I cannot be that. You cannot be physically comfortable to be who you really are. And even though a piece of me is being shared, I have the privacy to like act however I want to act. And then when I hang up, I can throw shit on the ground, get up and go pee, drink some water. I'm in control of my body. But if you work retail, you can't do any of that. That is my worst nightmare. That my body is trapped in a prison of visibility.
Yeah, your prison of visibility is such a great way of saying it. You value autonomy, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
That's your thing. Okay.
Like if you're a server and someone's giving you shit and you got to be like, my tip depends on this interaction, you can go into the kitchen and flip out, and everybody in that space is like, we hold this space for you. You flip out, girl. You be weird. You need to go all the way out through the back and have a cigarette. Like, you flip out. I'm happy for you. Like, people understand. But when you're on the floor, you can't be you. And to me, to be in a fishbowl is prison. It's the worst case scenario for me. So of any type of customer service, I would need the freedom to be myself for some of it, to express out, process, do what I got to do to manage.
I love that. Okay. So so favorite, what is the call center for those reasons? Which was your least favorite of all of those?
Retail.
Of course. She lasted 3 seconds. You were there 72 crisp hours. No, 3 weeks. We know 3 weeks.
I would have such a hard time being in a space where I am like butlering somebody from across the room and have to be hyper aware of them all the time. And there's no tip involved. There's no...
This is my whole argument for people that are attracted to retail. I'm like, just go be a server.
Yeah.
It is so sad. But
there's no incentive to be good.
None. No, other than not getting yelled at by your weird manager who's power tripping. Yes, there's no bonus.
Yes.
Like, and even places that work on commission, it's like, there's no benefit.
No.
Okay, no. Obviously. All right. So
I like privacy. Actors have trailers. I can go stretch in there and I can go be myself for 5 minutes.
Now, because I know that the audience is going to wonder this. So you have described what you said being in a fishbowl and not being able to escape and autonomy. You've described what fame would take away is all of those things. Mm-hmm. So as an actor, that's always on the table that you could become largely famous. How would you handle it?
This is always coming from a place of confidence because there's a microphone in front of my face, so it does change like the dynamic. I am very confident that I will have a lot of success as a performer and actor. I am pretty confident I will never be that famous because of the type of human I am. I am not going to be on the cover of Vogue. And if I am, then I am a breakout star who's on the cover of Vogue. Meryl Streep is pretty famous, but we don't need her personal life for us to like respect and enjoy her art and her work and her activism. She's able to have a little bit of privacy because we don't need to see what she looks like in a bathing suit at the beach. We're not curious. That's not our business. That's not why we love her. I just don't feel, I'm not saying that I'm Meryl Streep, but I would like you to take that away. I don't
It's 100% what this episode's called. Jennica Schwartzman is Meryl Streep. Keep going.
Even just the idea that I am not 29 years old. The years I have left are probably not those years. I would love to make as many movies as I can. Big movies, small movies, interesting movies, TV shows. I want to work like I'm that, but I'm not going to have that type of rise to fame likely. So even though that could be a problem, I have an entire life of friends and people, and the privilege of aging is that I already have enough people around me that if I could no longer open my doors to new people because I need to find a space for me to be myself, I have a lot of people I could be myself around. And I am only myself. So I would have to be famous for who this is.
for all this. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've been asked to do whilst on the clock?
Did I write down an option? Because there were so many things to discuss.
Did I not put that on the questions? Sorry.
No, you did.
Oh.
But I'm not.
Wait, skip it.
Maybe it's it's like number 3.
Yeah, we're scratching the surface here, girl.
Interesting. So number 3, I didn't write down. So as an actor, you swap spit with a lot of strangers.
Yeah.
And I had talked about this on another podcast, but I was like in like an orgy scene. But I wasn't in the orgy, but I was in the scene and I didn't know that was going to happen. And that was really weird.
Ooh, you didn't know?
No, because like I wasn't looking where the camera was looking. I was placed like on the edge of a scene and somebody else was behind me.
Oh, they should have told you.
And there was a bunch of bodies. Yeah, I was sent to like a softcore porn show.
No, ma'am.
And I didn't know. I was
That's
doing background and I had to call my booking manager at the time and be like, hey, so she doesn't wear a top in the scene, so I'm not on primetime television. Where am I? Oh, I'm on Skinamax? This is great to know. You can't book me on these without my permission. But good to know I could get a lap dance bump if I really wanted one. So I've been in a lot of spaces I didn't want to be in.
Sure.
That were fine. But I don't know. It's hard to say what's weird because once you've like listened to somebody cry about the worst moment of their life in a car accident and you're there to just like as a child, like a 20-year-old, just like listening to somebody's like whatever, I think that is horrifically more damaging to have to do than anything I've been asked to do as an actor with my body, with a stranger.
Sure. I agree.
In these weird spaces at 4:00 in the morning. Like, I don't think anything is worse than holding somebody's heart while they're worried that their kid is not going to be okay.
Jesus. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we gonna get away from this. Nope, you're honest. Okay.
This is so funny, guys.
LOL. Kids are dying. Was there ever an incident that made them ask to speak with your manager? Where they were like, let me escalate this?
Yeah, all the time. I feel like that's, at the call center. Yeah. Like, I think people ask because it is the smart way to get a better answer.
Yeah, or they think they're going to get a different answer.
I always ask.
Yeah.
If I need something done, I say, can I please speak to your manager? I'm not going to say that you were the problem, but I'm going to let them know that there's a problem with your system.
Oh, that's a nice way of saying it. So
they're like, sure, whatever. And I'm like, great. Now I can talk to somebody who has actual power.
And then they change it.
Yeah, I get what I want.
That's good. What was the last straw that got you out of? Now, don't say we knew Tommy Bahama was being asked to not speak to your coworker. Was there ever a different last straw that was like, flip a table? I am done. Get me out of here.
Besides that one, I mean, doing background and like my feet hurt too much, or I was on a set where it was an emotional scene, like it was an interesting moment. And a crew member, not everybody on a set has the same emotional intelligence as your acting team.
What?
Who trained for this for years to be like, can you pretend in public weird shit? And you're like, yes, I have trained for this for years. And then you go on set and then a crew member who is pretty inexperienced, I imagine. When I was walking on set, you just carry an energy with you. And it was a very hard scene. And this person was like, da, 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 da. While I was walking into a set, because of the dark energy that I was bringing with me, because I was going to cry and do something really crazy weird in the scene, because my character is dead and she's visiting her daughter in a dream in a casket. Like, it was a extremely like effed up situation.
I would have been so mad.
Whereas like, the emotional prep I had to do for an hour to do this
just to get here
at all. And then I have to put a layer on top of it to leave the room that you've been working in, to go bring that energy to set, to protect that with like a hard shell turtle with your heart, to take this really vulnerable place. I'm on the edge of tears because it's my fucking job to be on the edge of tears. Because when you want me to cry, a tear will come out of that eye. And I had to walk through that and do the scene and then let the director know later, because I'm a fucking professional, I'm not going to walk out and leave my name tag. I'm going to walk up to the director later and say, I will never work on one of your sets ever again. That is unacceptable behavior.
Was the director mortified that person did that, or was the director the one?
The director was, in my estimation, too insecure and immature as a person to grasp the gravity of how they contribute to that behavior on their set.
Begins and stops there, baby.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
But I don't anything that I say that's like customer service, like call center stuff is like really fucking serious. But all the stuff on set is supposed to be funny and light and no big deal because it's art. But no, it all feels very serious.
Well, but the stakes aren't that high. Think of how many people you beat out for that job. Think of how much money is on the line. The stakes really are that high. Sorry, we're not doing brain surgery, but a lot of people invested a lot of money and a lot of time for the success of whatever it is, whether it's an indie feature or it's a sitcom on a network. There's a lot at play, and there are hundreds of jobs. Yes.
And like 20 people are watching you, usually more, but like on an indie set, like 20 people are watching you, and you have to do your thing in front of them. And the thing you're doing is a private thing.
That's right.
And it's weird.
It's fucking so weird. Okay. We just speed this up. Do you tip?
Absolutely.
How much?
20% at minimum.
What can make them go below 20?
Nothing.
You 100% of the time you're given 20%.
It's not about them. It's about me.
So your code of ethics is no matter what. What if they are so rude to you, call you outside of your name, ignore your table completely, are mean to your kids?
I am too aware that a tip is not about the person who is serving you.
What is it about?
Usually it's shared. It's
because it's going to the back of the house. It's going to the host.
It's because that's how much money it costs to employ a person to be a part of this business. And because the government decided it's their income, then I have to participate that it's their income because that's how I choose to live.
Okay. So you have to participate because you've set yourself up mentally for that participation.
Yes.
Do you think all people should participate in tipping?
I think all people should participate in the voting system that changes systems, that we don't require tipping to make somebody feel like their value matters in a moment that is beyond their control for them to pay their bills. If they're counting on that money to pay their bills and the government's decided it's their income and not their tip, then I think that tipping is a indication of where you lie on the political spectrum of what you think is right and wrong about people being able to pay their bills in a capitalist system.
Woo! Good night, everybody. That's a wrap. That's the podcast. We got it. Shit.
My dad was a pastor, and so he spoke from a pulpit in a room full of people who listened to him. I wonder why I do stand-up comedy. And he would say to people all the time, tipping is not about service. Tipping is about who I am as a person.
Come on.
And it meant a lot to me because we were very poor. For a person to stand in front of a room of people who we know does not make a lot of money. Our electricity was turned off in the summer because people are on vacation and they don't tithe and they don't realize that small churches are actual buildings that have utilities and those pastors' houses have utilities and it's not their fault, but they don't understand that my parents spend every waking hour of their life serving the communities like needs, like they sit at hospital beds and hold hands while people pass. Like that's what you've chosen to be a part of as a community. I don't think churches should all stand. I'd love to burn most of them to the ground. But the type of church I was raised in, they had a purpose. They had a mission. And for my dad to say like, and I tip was like, you shouldn't. It's really irresponsible. So I learned from a young age that there's things that you do because it's right and wrong to you, but he would never say in that room, and you should too.
He just said what he did. That's leadership.
Yes.
That's what leadership actually is. That's amazing. Yeah. Have you ever been fired?
No.
Well, okay.
I'm surprised that it's like you sent me these questions ahead of time. Ooh, a little behind the scenes. I got these questions ahead of time. I made notes. I write things down. I'm an A+ student. I couldn't think of a time I was fired, but I can think of people who would never hire me again.
Oh, word. Well, that's fine. Don't name them here. We're good. I can too, girl. And you know what? If we ain't shaking the trees and pissing people off, we're not. If they're not speaking badly about you, you're not out there enough. So good for you.
I have fired people.
Ooh. What would make you fire someone?
There was a person on one of my sets who behaved in a way that was unacceptable to the whole team. And they asked me, we all agreed that person should not come back to set. And so I needed to go to his room where he was staying that we were paying for and write him a check and ask him not to come back to set. We no longer want him on the movie.
But he was already in shots. So did you reshoot
He was a crew member.
Oh, that is a tell.
Yeah. And that was really hard to do, but I felt like very adult doing what I think was better for the group. This is the right thing to do. This is the best thing to do. And it doesn't mean that I would never work with that person again, even though I would never work with that person again. But it doesn't mean that.
Right.
I think being asked to not be a part of a project, we all go through hard times. And there's other people a part of other projects that we had to let go because there are things that you do as an actor, or there's things that you do in crew. There's things that you can do where you can ask to not be a part of a project anymore because you've made it too difficult for you to be a part of it anymore. And it's such a like soft skill.
Yeah, it is. I don't know that that's a soft skill, girl. That's like a tangible, real. I mean, people take classes for how to do that.
Yes, and I don't want to go to court for doing it wrong.
That part.
So like to be able to do it, I've probably messed up more than I feel solid about firing.
Yeah, but now you got a degree, and a girl, you got a master's.
Got a degree.
Yeah, now you know how to do it.
Yeah, I just put it in their contract now, and I would just be like, you know what?
Don't sue me. Let me use it much.
Let's pull out your contract.
Last question in this section. Worst customer you've ever had to interact with, or an archetype of who the worst customer would be.
There was a person who's still alive, it's weird to say was,
Oh, I want to know.
that my husband and I had done some work for in the moving furniture handyman art installation variety. And that person's nickname, and I'm not proud of ever giving nicknames to people because that's not appropriate.
Yes, it is.
But this person's nickname was the Devil.
Obviously.
And the Devil didn't pay us for a job that we had been working for weeks. And the business that we had been putting together for the Devil's business opened and was successful. And the person still wouldn't pay us for no reason other than it didn't matter to them that anybody got paid who set up the entire business that opened, that was successful for a minute and a half. Like it was a very expensive, and we were not a big expense.
Did y'all have a contract?
No work that my husband ever does is contract because it's
Word of mouth to rich people. That's why they don't want it. They don't want a contract because they're not going to claim you on a 1099. So they don't want you to claim them. So that if you slip and fall in their house, you were never there. Ooh, I deal with the same shit, and it is so scary. It's so much riskier for us than it is for them. They act like the vulnerable ones because they're rich. It is so much riskier for us.
Yeah. Not getting paid is something that's happened to us as a team many times.
Ugh.
My husband, much more. But that one job was like, if I sat down and like calculate, it was more than a month. It was months. Like it was a lot to put together this business. And then the person who was associated with us that brought us on to the Devil, that person paid us out and said that they would take this to court to finish up on our behalf.
Did they?
Yes.
Did they win?
I don't know if they got everything they deserved or put out, but a rich person absorbed our tragedy out of the kindness of their heart that we still know today.
Well,
and that person still, not all rich people are bad, but that rich person saw us because my husband has this like amazing personality and he can like take anything and he's nice to everybody all the time. So he put us in a position of extreme privilege where if we were vulnerable, and it was both of us. So it was our household. Like it was us.
Yeah.
And I think that was during the time we were saving up for our wedding. But we booked a commercial together, so it worked out.
Aw.
We could pay for the wedding.
Jesus. Well,
The Devil. That's the
Devil.
worst.
And you know off the mic, I'm going to ask you who that was. Now, we're going to move on to the good stuff. We hope you saved room for dessert. What is the nicest thing a customer has done for you whilst you were working? Or a client, or, just a happy story.
Can I say the person that paid us out of the kindness of their heart
I would
and then
love that.
took the other person to court
I would
for
love
us?
that. Please and thank you.
It was the nicest thing that I could ever imagine is somebody just like, I will make sure you're taken care of, even though nobody's making me. I'm just a good person who sees something that's not good. But I mean, they were connected to it and I'm sure they just felt guilty, but they could do something about it and nobody made them.
Are you able to say their name, or is it going to reveal too much about the other?
It could.
Okay, we won't reveal.
They're not famous. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, then I don't care.
And who cares?
Yeah. We only care about famous people.
I can't tweet it.
Who's the nicest famous person you've ever met? Or one of the nicest? This isn't a question that was prepped.
Oh man. So my husband's going to have so much more. I'm not going to be the right answer. Okay. I really liked
You don't have to.
You can cut out all the sound.
Yeah. No, I'm leaving
while
it.
I decide when to say names.
I'm going to burp.
So I was at a Dave Matthews concert.
Love them. Love them.
Because a member of the band is extremely generous and gave us almost all the furniture in our home as a gift. So like they just gave us furniture and took very good care of us and have been generous with us for years. And they give us tickets to come see them, Dave Matthews Band.
I'm a big fan of Dave Matthews Band. We're going to have
and
to
go backstage many times over and over. I feel comfortable saying that a member of Dave Matthews Band is so generous and kind for many years and very, very personable and so fantastic. The entire band is amazing. So everybody you think it is them. And then one time, super stoned backstage, like I couldn't understand what was happening stoned. Like, I don't want to stand up, but this is like an after party. And I'm like with important people, like very, very important people. And I can't form words. And I look over and Dave, who's not the person who gave us all the stuff and took care of us. Dave was just like standing like by the front door in this other person's dressing room party, like lonely and like looking around to be like, oh, your people are all here. How cool. And he like grabbed a beer out of the fridge and he was just kind of hanging out. And I was like, I'm going to go be nice to Dave. So I went over
with charity.
Stoned out of my mind. And I brought my friend who also can't form words. And he and I stood with Dave and we had like an amazing conversation that I don't know what was said or who said what or how long. No memory of any information other than I'm in such a good place. This is amazing. I'm going to go be nice to Dave. So he's great.
I love it when Dave Matthews is a charity case. That's lovely.
He doesn't need anything. He doesn't care.
He's fine.
I'm sure to him that experience was this weird person started coming and mumbling at me when I did not want to speak to people.
Yeah, I was just observing.
Yeah, but he seemed so great.
He does seem great.
Yeah.
Did you ever get tipped for the art installation stuff? Because I know that they usually do.
Sometimes big wads of cash.
Yeah.
Just because you're in their personal space and they know that you know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever been handed?
I asked Ryan this morning and I was like, I don't know, $100 each. And he's like, yeah, a lot more than that. So I don't know.
Okay.
But it's in the hundreds, like
amazing.
200 or 300. Because some jobs are like really big, longer jobs. Some jobs are like weeks at a time. Some are just like a day. But like when you're in people's houses, like if I was in the house of, let's say, a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, winky.
You know, like they're going to take really good care of you.
Well, shit, you have their address. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, like that's so fucking stupid to not tip them. It's like, you're so vulnerable.
Yeah, there's talk show hosts who are extremely generous.
Yeah, but not well liked. Okay.
There are a lot of people who are extremely thoughtful and generous, but I also think that they're living in their fishbowl and it's really unfair for them. And I'm happy to reap the benefits of their uncertainty about who I am and what I'm aim to do on the internet after.
Yeah, don't trust me. Hand me all the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk so much shit. Give me all your coins.
Yeah, I would say one of the weirdest things is when you don't interact with them.
Oh, yeah. I've had that.
So we've been hired by a PR company to do things for their clients before.
And they don't know you're who's hired.
You don't know who, but there is a client who was not in this country, very, very famous person. And this very famous person's PR company hired us to go to their house, which was an apartment in a building, and pack up all their stuff.
I've had to do this too.
Including their underwear drawer.
Yep, which has all kinds of weird shit. Ain't got just underwear.
Their bedroom side door. All of the drawers, every single inch of the house, pack it up and then take it to the other apartment that's slightly bigger and then unpack it into that space.
I've done this.
I've touched so much underwear that I'm like, this is not appropriate. I'm not relishing this. They don't relish this. Nobody's thinking about this, but they don't know who I am.
Right.
And if they did, they would be so mortified. I mean, they would hand me piles of cash to be like, pretend this never happened. Like, they would want this to go away. But the people who hire you, if it's a third party, they don't tip like that because it's not their jammies and their bedside tables that you're emptying. Yeah. Like, it's not their stuff.
Secret stash of shit that you're finding.
But
Victoria.
They know that you're touching it.
They know.
It's like, I'm not even wearing gloves for most of this.
But they're divorced from that reality. I've learned that from the billionaires that I've dog sat for. I'm like, oh, you notice like they have to be divorced from the reality that there is... that they just have to blindly trust that you're not going to do wild shit. It's how you get like, now I'm scooped up in that pipeline because once one of them can trust you knowing you're not going to do anything wild, like then it's like, oh, everybody has your number, which is like, that's nice. Yeah. But it's also like, it's also a sad reality of like, oh, this is how
Very
often,
sad.
like the dignity of me not going through your stuff when I'm in your home should be the base level of your expectation. Like that should be completely understood that I would never do that.
But they know that you could take a photo of anything in their home and make money.
And people do.
They do.
It's not only that I could, it's
so
people
sad.
have done it to them.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I get why you're so like why I'm in some pipeline, and I'm just getting calls from strange numbers being like, well, I guess so and so vetted me.
Yeah.
Because you can ruin that. I mean, you could do a slip and fall in their house and take everything from them. I mean, I'm sure they have homeowners insurance, blah blah blah, but like
yeah,
you know,
they're pretty well set up specifically for that because their money manager has put them on that pipeline of you people go in your home. But there's some people that, and I'm not going to say it's inappropriate at all. I think it's normal. If you move furniture into somebody's house and you hang art, it is an obligation that I take a photo of the work I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
So there's a really weird thing to be like, well, I had or have, because I can't control if I've deleted things because I don't delete anything, a lot of photos of a lot of people's personal homes, not of their underwear drawer.
Sure, of an art installation, but still.
But like
it's the inside of their homes. Yeah, that's a violation.
And I have it. It's a huge violation. And if they thought about it for a second, they would be mortified that they didn't specify, please don't take a photo of my home. But if I don't take a photo, they'd be like, can you please send me a photo?
Right, because they're not
like,
there.
What did it look like? 100%. Of the thing. It's so bizarre to be like, you don't want what's happening to happen, but you don't want to be a part of it happening. And having a conversation with somebody, this is great for customer service.
Yeah.
Learning how to have conversations, really hard conversations with people is so important to the growth of who you are as a human.
Oh, it's invaluable.
And when you are insulated from that because of money, it's really sad because
it breaks your brain.
It does.
You see how they can't even have they can't even be in your physical presence because they don't know how to just be.
And then when you're a customer service worker and you interact with that person who's broken that part of themselves, you're like, you're a disaster. But you didn't used to be. Yeah. Something happened.
Something happened.
And that thing was the insulation of money and the sanitation of your interaction with the lessers.
Well, yes, it could be that. Or it could also be you got burned enough times by people that you're like introducing a new human being into this orbit is an actual calculated risk.
They're all enemies.
You have to approach it that way.
And to me, I'm like, we're all dancers. Well, but we're all sharing this flexible dance. And they're like, no, we're on the battlefield. And my life has barely gotten back to me.
And wouldn't of the two ways of doing life, it's like they're lucky that they hired someone who views it as a dance because you're not gonna, screw with stuff. Yeah. But people have asked me things that I've done. This is supposed to be in the good section, but people have been like, oh, did you do fill in the blank in their house? Never, not ever, not in this lifetime or the next. First of all, there's cameras everywhere. And second of all, it would never cross my mind to fuck with someone else's home.
No.
Unless they're a mortal enemy. If you've hired me to do a job, I'm going to go do that. Also, it's not comfortable. I'm not comfortable in your house. No. You think I'm going bare ass cheeks on your couch?
No.
No.
I
want to be in the room, even
I want to be in my house.
Yes. You are paying me to be in your home. I don't like it here.
No.
I don't know your friends. I don't care about Bob on the wall.
Yeah. I don't know who your neighbors are looking at me.
Hello.
I like my neighbors looking at me just fine. Okay.
Also, that when the neighbors are getting reported back to, I didn't know that was a thing because I would never think to do that until I'm getting texts like, oh, so-and-so said they saw you out with a dog. I'm like, oh yeah, y'all have a fucking, is there surveillance? What is happening? And there is, because there has to be.
I've house sat for people who reported to me the specific list their housekeeper wrote about me to them to report to them. Same. Because that is the requirement of the housekeeper to report exactly everything in the state that they saw on the day they saw me. But you didn't communicate that to me.
Correct.
And it's weird.
Correct.
That you have this system that I didn't do anything wrong. It's not bad.
But you didn't tell me what the rules were.
But you didn't tell me. But there weren't rules. It's not bad. You just need me to know that I know, we know.
Which is his own mind fuck.
Yeah. It's a weird power move to be like, you guys, I didn't want to do anything, but now I just don't want to be here.
Yeah. Now I'm upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go on. Let me not. This is a good section. Here we are. So that was tipping. All right. Yay, we're having a good time. What's the best lesson you've personally learned from working in customer service?
Every interaction is an opportunity to make the world better, because I learned this from my husband, who works really well with customers because he's a good person or whatever. He always takes the opportunity to say the little sweet joke, not the negative joke, not the make fun of, not the whatever.
A dad joke.
But just the dad joke.
Yeah.
He is always ready with the dad joke, and people will either smile or roll their eyes and smirk at it, or just not get it, but understood that he tried that. And that is all something that makes the world a better place.
That's right.
And every time he's taken that, like, I'm much more like emotionally minded to be like, anytime I could hold space for somebody who's needing a minute, I'm going to like just be there for a second. I can give him that because I can spare it. I'm very privileged and happy and comfortable. But he's always like, you should leave here having had a better moment with me than you did without me.
Oh, I love
and
that.
And so I have taken that on. I work really hard to focus on it. Like, we went into a middle school near us because we're looking at middle schools for a few years from now at an open house. And every interaction there, I could see Ryan doing it, and it's a competition now. So he like walks in and he says like a nice thing to be like, oh, they set you in the sun. At least they could put a little shade here. Blah, blah. You know, just like a little nice opportunity for that person to be like, I know.
To feel seen.
To feel whatever. And then we walked to this next person, and then he started a joke, and so I roll with it. And people are tickled out of their mind if he starts a joke and then I continue it. Like, I don't undercut him and be like, I'm so sorry for him. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, a 43-year-old sixth grader, isn't that amazing? Like, the people were so tickled that we came to have a good time. But it's not like Ryan was in a good mood when we arrived.
He just did it because he does.
That's just how he sees people.
Yeah.
He sees people as an opportunity. And he's not like a compulsive comedian that can't not make a joke, you know, like that's really uncomfortable and I need you to see me.
Yeah.
He's much more like, I need you to know that I see you.
Oof.
And so I have benefited from that. I told him that I really hope if one of us has to have dementia, I hope it's me, because instead of fighting me to get in the shower, he's going to be like, I hid candy in the shower. You know, he's going to make every moment of my life amazing.
What a gift.
And if he is having a hard time, I'm going to be like, get in the fucking shower. I'll give you candy. Just get in the shower. Like, it's not my natural posture. And so being in customer service and like using all of these, like, this could be great. Everyone could be great. We're both dancing all the time. If I could just see it that way, it does make the world a better place. It literally does.
I don't disagree. And then last question in the section, what's one piece of advice you would give to customers who interact with customer service workers?
Customer service workers are more likely, not always, we're not a monolith, nobody is, are more likely to be somebody who is in a power deficit or in a desperate position to have to choose to be there. And if you could treat them not with pity, but please, that's fine. But if you could treat them with a little bit of like, this person is often in this position because they need to be in this position, but I don't need to be here needing from them. I would love it for you to just see them. I'd love to be like, oh, let's just humanize. People in customer service are humans too. But I don't think it's that. I think it's one step further. I made a lot of decisions to be in those positions from a place of complete desperation. And I did not have the power to choose how I was living my life. And I gave a lot of my heartbeats to a manager or a person to do this thing. And I can find meaning and purpose in anything I do because I'm a crazy person with my own internal world that I could live in forever. But I don't think everybody has that. And I know that it eats away at people's souls. So if you could just see it from like, it's not pity. Being a server is a brilliant job that you could do so well and love. But if you could see it from a place of like, this person might want to be somewhere else, like, why not try to make their day better? Make it easier on them. So I'm having this like fight with my roof situation and like all these things. And I'm trying to talk to these roofers and I'm like giving them this timeline and I'm trying to like leverage a threat to get them to answer me with all these issues. But the entire time I'm talking to the person on the phone, I'm thinking like, they don't want to be the person on the phone. And so I'm making their job easier. And so I try to always phrase it when I'm working with them to be like with the call center guy, like, please don't call people at Sunday at 8 a.m. Like, this is not a good time. You should call somebody. Like, I think I'm giving them direction as unsolicited advice for like how to do it. So I said to the person at the many roofing companies that I'm like coordinating with, like, I'm giving you information that I really hope that you give to your bosses so that they can restructure their communication between your technicians on site and the people in the office, because there's a broken like thing there. I see that. And the information I'm giving you is not to leverage you into doing something. I'm giving this to you so that you can see where this is going wrong. Your insurance company wants to never, hear from me that I'm taking out a bond. People want to have an easy life. Please take my information and do something with it. Like, I want you to see how it's cheaper and easier to try this version of it. Like, I'm always trying to give the information to the customer service person to be like, I'm helping you figure this out. You don't want me on this list. I'm not the customer for this.
That's
so
great.
I hope that people will see them as make their job easier by giving them the information they want.
Well, to help them win. It's like everybody wants to win. There isn't like it's not a win-lose situation.
No.
It can be a win-win.
It's always a win-win.
Yeah. But you just have to, it's got to be we have the same goal. The same goal is not anybody pissed off. Everybody's saving money.
I said, like, that is the word right there. It says win-win at the bottom of my notes because that's what I mean. Like, we are together. We are dancing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be here, so let me make this a good dance that's funny and interesting.
Hate this. Okay. I love this. Well, Jennica, what do you want people to know? How can my audience support you? Because we have an incredible audience. Give us your socials. Tell us all of the things. We know it's you said Jennica Renee at the top, but like give us everything again.
I would love it if you would connect to me on Instagram because I spend my space there to connect to people. It is easier for me. So Instagram is a great place. My link tree that's in the show notes has all of my information. But again, I'm the only Jennica Schwartzman on earth. And if you try in the Google browser bar, you'll probably find it. You will succeed. But I do like to engage with people. I do comedy. I'm hilarious. I want to go to your town. And I have lots and lots of movies you can watch that I'm in because I'm really relatable.
There you are.
That's how I say average.
I'm
I'm really relatable. And you really want to see, me as one of the many people telling stories to you.
I love it. Well, folks, we're going to drop your checks now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here at Service from Hell, we'd love to have you subscribe, rate, and or review the show wherever you listen. It will help more people that need to be... I've never done this before. It will help us reach more people that need to be schooled in the art of being kind. It will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. If you want to get in touch with us here at Service from Hell directly, send us your receipts to servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. We truly do always love hearing from you, and I do read all of the emails. Remember, if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Jennica, you gave me so much of your time. This is probably going to be a two-parter. Thank you so much for all of this time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. I'm so appreciative. Let's dance.
Yeah, baby. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Good night. In the donating of eggs, you were told that. Now, did you feel any kind of way? Good. Go upstairs. Record upstairs. It'll be better. It's a leaf blower. Love a good leaf blower.
The good thing about a leaf blower is that you don't have to interact with any customers.
Truly. Doing landscaping isn't, I guess it is customer service, but
it's like a passive aggressive tool to stop people from talking to you.